Do you remember when we first started this journey together? We ventured forth and forged a bond. Made to unite, made to perform. It was a new partnership. We found new ways to excel despite the odds. We were built for each other. It was the first time I felt like I belonged, like I was a part of something bigger. Together we faced adversity and embraced it. And with you by my side, I've become better, more durable, stronger. Because what others see as limitations, I see as strengths. Our community has fueled my fire. Together we've rewritten the narrative, unlocking doors to a world of possibility. I'm proud of the journey we've taken, to be a part of something truly groundbreaking. I see a world where limitations are shattered and possibilities unlocked. Performax, empowering athletes and redefining limits for 25 years.
And if you take a look at the center court where the jump ball is about to happen, that is a lot of height advantage that RHI Middleton enjoys over the competition. I expect her to factor heavily today. Post work for her, they'll feed her inside, look for the shorts for her, and she easily wins there.
I was going to say the tap off, not much of a competition, but we expect this game to be. The Halos came in as the 9 seed. They are the higher seeded team in this national championship bracket. First possession of the game, as you see it, Halos working right to left on your screen in white, and a rapid turnover. Guess who forced it? Caden Schaff. He's off and rolling, and he's got a running mate, but unable to finish Connolly off a good pass, but the second chance goes down, and it is the Racers out to the early 2-0 lead.
Yeah, Schaff there showing the talent that he is, able to get that rebound and compose himself and put that up after the miss by his teammate. Great attempt for a dime there, and he had to finish it himself.
Halos did a nice job of breaking three-quarter court pressure, got a good look down on the block for Williams, could not finish off the play, but you liked that spacing. I know you did, Todd, and movement down the floor from the Halos.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, don't count out these Racers. I know they come in as the lower seed, but we saw some chalk broken yesterday, John, and we might see that again here in the consolation bracket.
Yes, we did. Utah was the talk of the tournament early on. High, low, great feed. First one wouldn't go down. Second, likewise, but a third opportunity created by Schaff, and you can quickly see he's the quickest player on the floor.
Multiple chances there bodes well for the Ranchos today. Good job there by Middleton to finally secure that rebound.
Ramping up our production as our team behind the scenes today. They know it's semifinal Saturday, and just passed us a note to remind us that we've got multiple cameras in play today, different angles for you to bring you all of the outstanding competition. That was a great feed through a double and a lead to an and one for Olnick. Ashlyn, Todd, is one of the players that is being supported, and there's a picture of her over in the crowd. That is the ultimate sign of affection over there. We've got Olnick at the foul line. We've got Olnick, the poster board version, over amongst the spectators.
Love that energy from the spectators, and Ashlyn Olnick is all game. Serious face, that will draw daggers into your soul, but at least on the across the court, John, we got a smile on her poster.
RHI Middleton in great control of her chair there as she finishes from the right side, cracks the scorebook for the Halos. 4-2 is our score. The Racers in possession and holding the very early lead.
Really impressed by her speed there. She's a big player, tall player. Sometimes that doesn't always go with speed, but that speed was impressive.
Attempted home run outlet from Pintor. Couldn't quite get it all the way down the floor.
Cringed there a little bit. He came down at a funny angle, and unfortunately was not hurt. Elijah Cox there fell at an angle. That's why the turnover. And you never want to see that, but I'm glad he was okay.
Here is Caden Schaff, coached and mentioned by Tanner Hall. 2 years as a player and then 2 years as the head coach in this Racers program, again out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's one of those towns that every time you hear it, you associate it with something. In my case, it's the Fort Wayne Tin Caps, a minor league baseball team that calls Indiana home.
It's a beautiful stadium. I've been there myself. It's underrated town, Fort Wayne.
Yeah, Fort Wayne Wizards is now their name, but they'll always be the Tin Caps to me. And a foul down low will lead to a pair of free throws and allow me time to tell Todd what my day's already been made today, talking to head coach Rick Tarambolo. 35 years he's been associated with this Rancho's Halos program out of Downey, California, but it was actually his brother that made my morning this morning. Roman Tarambolo, who is a career serviceman and also, unbeknownst to me, a Virginia Tech Hokie. I, of course, spent years as the voice of the Hokies, and today he flashed my memory back to my first year in that role, which was 2015. I got an email from a serviceman serving and deployed over in Iraq and said, we listen to every game regardless of the time of day, which certainly was generally in the middle of the night. And he said, would you mind giving a shout out to the Hokies over in Iraq? I responded. We started corresponding a bit back and forth, and then ultimately did give that shout out on air. And 8 years later, he just walked up to me and said, we heard it in the desert and we went ballistic. I thought that was you. I wanted to say thank you. Isn't life funny as we come back together at the Wheelchair Basketball National Championships, and his brother all the way across the country leads a program from Los Angeles.
You know, it's crazy, John. They talk about how disconnected the world is at times, but you come here to this National Wheelchair Basketball Tournament in Richmond, and it feels like one big family. Stories like that are amazing. That's wonderful.
And he, of course, is here supporting his brother. Didn't have to travel all the way from California because the Tarambolo clan is actually based out of Washington, D.C. That's where Coach Rick's mom still lives, and his brother Roman when he's not serving around the globe. And we'll come back down to this end for another opportunity from the line off the lane violation. 4-2, still our score. Very early going. Racers with the early game here on day 2.
Yeah, the early timeout, but both teams here struggling to find the pace, and we'll see it again. Remember, everybody, this is a 5 a.m. game, essentially, on the body clocks of the Rancho. So maybe a little slow going here in the early part, but we expect these teams to find their rhythm, and the shooters do what they do.
There you go.
Looking behind a pick, it's Pintor. Get it to the middle to Arel Middleton, and you heard the coaching staff from the Halo said, there you go, long before she shot it and made it off the glass and down. If you can get it into the paint to Middleton, she's going to have a pretty clear look. Schaff able to steady himself. We got a foul, however, on Seth Chessman of the Halos.
Middleton there accounting for all the points for the Halos, and I'm impressed with what I'm seeing there. Her teammates seem to know how to find her, and she knows how to get open. She's a paint buster, and that bodes really well for the Ranchos.
Yeah, she has such a distinct, elevated advantage. Like I say, if you can get her the ball in that lane, she's going to get an uncontested look, and we've seen that on her last basket. Her first was more of a glide-in breakaway.
Well, I know it's only 2 shots, but she's 100% in her shooting, and often you don't get a big player that can both get in the lane and make the shots, and we're seeing thus far with Arel that she is able to do that. That bodes well for the Ranchos.
Pintor with the takeaway. Veering to the left and looking to set up shop. Didn't find anybody else call his own number, but it wouldn't have mattered, as we'll call the lane violation prior to the shot.
You saw Pintor take a quick look over to Middleton to see if she was open. They were doubling her wisely on the right side, and like you said, called his own number, but a little confusion in the lane. It's early, and they're waking up still.
Watching the pick switches from the Halos. See, there's got to be a lot of chemistry on defense for the Ranchos Halos to try to track that man in the corner, Caden Schaff. And out to the wing is denied, but taken right back by the Racers. Ian Van Gordon. And back it goes as Middleton plugged up the passing lane.
Interesting to watch the way the teammates respond to Schaff. Schaff's an outstanding player, obviously, and his teammates make him better, or he makes them better. They're clearly keying on him, looking for ways to get him open. I love to see that. They know he's their shooter, and watch the picks that this team is setting. He's not doing it alone.
Keep playing. Guys, we're playing good. We're good.
Some early morning jitters to be expected, and maybe just some cobwebs without the caffeine, whether or not that's allowed. But 7 turnovers thus far for the RHR Racers. That is certainly uncharacteristic, particularly right out of the gate. That was a nifty pass for a solid look for Connolly. That wouldn't go down, but it will fall for Elijah Cox.
Great job, Cox, there. He went high off the glass at an awkward angle. A lot of times when you're getting that rebound, you're just right under the hoop, and he had only one chance at making that.
6'4", breaking free is Chessman, and could not dance it down. .65 is actually the score. Had a free throw converted for Rancho. Appreciation to Coach Schneider. He is monitoring the scoring console here for us this morning and will be with us throughout the day. Third member of our broadcast crew.
Cole Connolly there took a poke in the eyes. You can see them working on his glasses, and he's shaking his eyes a little bit, rubbing them. That's the stoppage of play, and obviously there's Dad swapping out his glasses, and we'll resume play. Always the parents, the #1 fans in the crowd there, right?
Man, he was on that with the backup glasses, and he arrived second. Coach Tarambolo was already there with the eye drops, if you notice that as well. So prepared for all eventualities here this morning at the Henrico Sports and Events Center.
Well, his dad, a large man, well above 6 feet, well above 200 pounds. I've never seen a guy sprint that fast.
On the move, but unsuccessful for Schaff. With those fresh glasses, had a good look. They'll stay on this end for the Racers, leading 6-5. Well, you made a good point, Todd. This is a 5 a.m. game by their home time zone for the Halos. They did get to travel across the country a day early. Coach Tarambula, I mentioned, was from D.C. He was able to take his team in, see all the sights of the nation's capital. And I said, well, did that extra day help with those time clocks? He said, absolutely not. This time, able to stroll in and score.
Yeah, interesting to watch now as the Racers have possession here. Schaff was really dominated in the paint by a very, very large presence of Arel Middleton. We'll see if he adjusts his game. He needs to take some outside shots. He's not going to be successful in the paint against her, and I think that's an adjustment for him he'll need to make.
A lot of contact, no foul called. And it will turn over to the Halos, who now have the lead for the first time, 7-6. Great pass by Middleton, split the defense. Chessman got to the bucket first, couldn't finish the deal.
Well, I'll tell you, in the offseason, Coach is going to have Chessman practicing those layups left side. He's missed 2 of those that should have gone down, and those are points you need to have. I know it's early, but those come back to haunt you.
Well, that looked like a 7-on-7 fly pattern, though, and Middleton playing quarterback, and there's Schaff heating up from the corner.
It's almost as if he heard us, John. He went to the outside shot, and he was perfect. Left side 10-footer. That was a no-doubter.
Well, we expected some of these preventive pick defenses in the backcourt from the Racers, and you see how far they have Middleton pinned out near center court. That is Pintor, the other that we expected to try to be pushed out of the interior. Shot clock at 2. Middleton's got a load. She does. Couldn't quite find it, but that was a good look late in the shot clock.
And to our left, assistant coach Robert Liu. He is the loudest shot clock counter I've ever heard. You're probably hearing it picking up on our mics, but a great service to his team as she knew what she had to do, and she did put up a great shot.
Defense let down there. Schaff got it back, but was right under the cylinder. Not much he could do. So the Halos take it away. Race for the basketball. Quick pivot on a dime. Couldn't quite get it to go, but Middleton is there on the stick back. Now they're starting to find their energy here, the waking up here in this morning showdown.
The Racers are going to have to find a way to stop that transition game. The White is so much faster down the court. They're getting great opportunities. They really should be up by more, and it's bodes well for them that they're able to get down the court so quickly.
Well, and Middleton doing a great job as kind of playing that transition quarterbacks. He's got a lot of strength in that right arm, able to get it all the way down the floor, and then she can kind of wheel in as the cleanup woman as well.
Yeah, clearly the team leader, Middleton. Before the game, I approached her and asked her about pronunciation of the athletes' names, and anytime I said one wrong, John, I got a scowl and I got a correction really quickly. Very, very much the mother hen of this team, and you can see the way she plays. She takes care of her teammates.
Well, and you know, as a sports information director, that's what you want. You don't mess around with pronunciation. Robert Lou on the shot clock countdown. It's at 3. And Pintor had the right idea there, but a foul called on the obstruction as Chessman's chair was held onto, trying to prevent that high-low slip pass.
Well, as the author of the How to Make Friends and Influence People said, and I'm forgetting his name, he's a famous author, as he said, the sweetest sound to people is their own name, and so we better learn how to pronounce it correctly.
It's a timeout on the floor. And yeah, the sourest sound, in contrast to that, is your own name spoken incorrectly.
John, I'm sure you've experienced that in your time with that extra A in your name.
Yes, I've gotten it all. Pettit, light a T, but nonetheless still easier to get to. Well, Jeremiah Stroud just checked into the game. Want to highlight him, number 30 in white. Haven't seen him on the floor yet. He was just sitting in front of us here at the scores table. Just a 7th grader, but he's got a very bright future for the Halos, and this first opportunity for some in-game adjustments.
You know, it's really interesting in wheelchair basketball, John, that the younger players can get a chance to be on the court, that chair being such a great equalizer. If you've got good chair skills, you can play at almost any level. Unlike able-bodied basketball, where height and physicality can really dominate, and you have to be a real phenom at the height of a 7th grader to be able to enter a varsity game. Not so in wheelchair basketball. If you've got the chair skills, you can get around someone twice your size, usually with a plum, and you can make just as much difference. So very interested to see Shroud, and I love programs that incorporate some of their prep-eligible players into the varsity program. Sometimes these players will split teams, and then they'll have to, of course, make a game day decision if 2 games are going on at the same time.
So in he comes, the 7th grader Stroud. Again, he's number 30 in white. We have 11 minutes remaining in this opening half of our lid lifter for this semifinal Saturday. 9-8. Rancho's Halos with the ball and the slimmest of leads. Brendan Williams to inbound on the throw-in from the baseline. Pintor left alone. He knows what to do, and that's Cash from 12 feet.
Roll back, roll back.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Stroud coming in. Now, one of the interesting things, John, is that they play on an 8-foot hoop in the prep level. So if he's been playing prep in this tournament, he is not quite calibrated to the 10-foot hoop they play here. They play the same hoop height as able-bodied ball at the varsity level.
Yeah, that is a dramatic difference, to say the least, particularly for wheelchair basketball and the angles that it creates. Pintor throwing it ahead for Middleton. Middleton flags it and scores it.
Middleton's ability to streak down the court after playing a staunch and tight defense just impresses me. She's been the story of this first half for the Ranchos. Her ability to go right side, and the Racers need to make an adjustment and put somebody on her in the backcourt.
Yeah, brief 6-0 run here, and Middleton all over Schaff. Pintor trying to tug it up off the floor, but instead it's taken by Cole Connolly. Connolly smartly outside for the reset.
Once again, Schaff taking on Middleton and losing that battle. I know ultimately the Racers ended up with the ball, but Schaff has got to stay outside or stay away from Middleton.
Chessman, he worked on the layups during the timeout. See, Todd? Immediate in-game adjustment.
There we go. There we go. It's like they can hear us, right?
Chessman's gotten that look repetitively, and that's a schemed look for the Halos. It's an 8-0 run now. 8-7 on the last field goal for Schaff. That was quite some time ago, and this is Schaff. And got it poked away. Been impressed with the rapid hands of Pintor.
Yeah, good job by Pintor there, Alessandro, to tip that one away. Schaff was sneaking into the lane, had found a crack, and he had a nice looking layup right side away from Middleton.
Here comes Chessman on the approach again, left side, that time cut off by Schaff. Plan B from the elbow.
Get back. We're good.
Well, it was a member of the New York Fury that was dubbed a pickpocketing fiend in the lane, as we've got a whistle prior to that pass and a foul against the Halos. But I think that would apply to Alessandro Pintor. That's not who they were talking about, but man, those hands have been disruptive.
He's been expert at poking. I'm going to dub him Pokemon. I know he won't like that one, but that's what I'm going with, John. And
oh, you can't just go Pokemon. Which Pokemon?
Well, Pikachu is the only one I know. So.
All right. Court and I have voted rejected. But nonetheless hilarious. Here comes Middleton to the middle of the floor. Wow, you know, you look at this Rancho's team, they've got so many of the necessary elements, including Pintor, who very casually flips that one up and in. Now it's a 10-2 run.
You can see one of the differences in wheelchair basketball. Pintor had to one-hand that. That's something you almost never see in able-bodied basketball. The reason being he needed his left hand on his wheel to steady himself. Otherwise, the Newton's third law was going to take over there, John, and make his shot awkward.
Yeah, that's a great observation, the difference in wheelchair basketball. And I said early yesterday, there are some characteristics in the talents of water polo, which is, again, a full body where you have to utilize your legs in the pool, but the upper body is where you manipulate the ball. And certainly not the exact same thing, but definitely some similarities. And Pintor has displayed an excellent ability in both of those elements. We'll get foul shots for RHI here, and the Racers going to need some momentum here in the latter side of the first half.
John, would you believe I was an intramural water polo champion in college?
I would have believed it if you said player.
Well, there are only
crazy.
5 teams.
That's still, hey man, that's 5 more teams than I competed against. That's awesome. Would you agree with that? You know,
yeah, I think it's a great analogy. I've never heard that before, but I think it's very apropos.
I can't remember which player it was yesterday. It was one of the talented players we saw early. It was just manipulating the game by elevating the ball in his right hand.
Wow, nice dish.
Yeah, it was a great feed to the 7th grader Stroud, who will have a youthful memory here in the national championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice job there. And one of the things the Racers can take away, they are down by 9, and they're probably a little discouraged, but they are getting a lot of second opportunities in the offensive zone. That's the kind of stuff that bodes well. You got to tell yourself, keep shooting. We're getting the second opportunities. That is a portal to victory.
And again, there's Pintor. Pokemon, sorry viewers, poked that away again from Schaff. It'll stay with the Racers, but you know, the disruption of your offensive set can be frustrating even if you maintain possession of the ball, and that's the scenario yet again here for RHI.
John, we're striving for all levels of viewership here. I'm going for the youthful viewers. I'll leave you with the 50 plus, and I'll take on the youth.
That is where I shine. Schaff from downtown wouldn't go down. He had to take it to beat the shot clock. Look at that throw out from Stroud. Pintor, the roll reversal, being jabbed at by Schaff. Second chance, hoists and hits. Pintor's having a phenomenal half.
Schaff there did everything he could. He was beaten down the court, just got there in time to get his hand on the ball, but not quite enough. And Schaff has played his heart out, but finds himself down 11, their largest lead.
Now speaking to Rancho's defense, and there'll be a foul called on Pintor. Thrust that wheel in late and upended Ashlyn Olnick. I was about to say, though, before that defensive foul, was Rancho's Halos doing a tremendous job on the defensive end. They have forced 1 of 14 from the field. As Olnick applauded as she is back up and ready to continue.
Yeah, 1 of 14 is around 7% shooting. I'm not aware of a lot of teams that win shooting 7%.
Yeah, you'll hear head coaches in all levels of basketball say sometimes numbers are insurmountable. Being out-rebounded, for example, 3-1. Now here is Brendan Williams on that rebound, and I want to point him out because his name doesn't come up a ton in the offensive sets, but man, his chair skills are elite. He is almost a showman out there as Middleton knifes through the middle and banks it home. That is tremendously difficult to do, as she was able to stop her momentum, pivot against her body, and score from the opposite block.
You know, it's fun to watch this game, John. The Halos really being close to competing for the big prize. They lost a heartbreaker in the first round to the Hawks, and they're a very capable team here. We're seeing a dominant performance against these outmatched racers, but the Halos could be in the run for the big dance.
Yeah, they had a very good first half. Again, another 5 a.m. by their time start yesterday. It was a 1-point game against the Hawks at the half. The Hawks got very aggressive up into the Halos in the second half, able to prevail.
Well, I made an MVP prediction yesterday, and I'm going to make one again here today. Middleton for the female MVP. She is looking very strong and very talented.
There was Williams coming right up at us. He lost the ball, but just to keep it in bounds was a feat. Schaff cut off the baseline by Pintor. Schaff trying to find some space to get one off. Ducks gives it up. Didn't go. Williams, and that one skipped off his right wheel. Otherwise, he was going to be off and rolling all on his own.
Yeah, Williams, you mentioned earlier, giving Schaff everything he can handle. Schaff forced to go to a second option, plan B, and unfortunately that option not able to, Cox not able to make the shot for the Racers.
And players that thrive on movement can get frustrated when you hassle them on every touch, and that's exactly what the Halos have done here this morning.
Williams
4 minutes left in the half.
Williams and Pintor clearly given the assignment to take on Schaff and neutralize the Racers' best player, and right now they're winning that battle.
Found the floor general or the mother hen, but an offensive foul. They'll say that Jeremiah Stroud was out of control.
Are you kidding me with that catch and release by Middleton? She took a laser to the chest, and not only took the laser to the chest, but had it out of her hands within 0.2 of a second to her teammate.
Yeah, she's an excellent press breaker. Get it to the middle and then get it out, and that's what the Halos have done. You can see that Coach Tarambolo has been around a while. He knows exactly where to put the pieces on the board.
John, your bad pun count for the day is now at 1 when you said get it to the middle. I didn't know if you meant middle or Middleton. So you're at 1. You get 3.
Inadvertent pun count. No. I get 3 intentional puns.
I see.
Plus 1 inadvertent pun. That's a rule my wife put in place.
Well, I'm not going to go against her.
That's not good, though. But by the math, we've got 4 games to broadcast. At the conclusion of the shot clock, that one does not strike iron, so that is a turnover back to the Halos.
Yeah, story for the Halos has been their staunch defense. They've certainly had Middleton scoring at will, and also Pintor, but that defense was incredible. The last 2 or 3 possessions, they've limited to very, very poor shot selection, with the waning shot clock having to put up a prayer, not squaring themselves, and the results speak for themselves.
23-12 is the score. Still a handful of possessions remaining in this opening half. Pintor left alone. Alessandro dumps to the middle for Stroud. Stroud got it back with 3 minutes to play in the half. And Williams will give up on it.
And Stroud making himself known to the Halo fans here again. Bodes well for their future that they've got a 7th grader on the court, active in the game, taking shots and making plays.
Excellent back cut on the pick and roll. Racers have gotten some good looks off those sets. They haven't gone down in the first half, but that will give them optimism for the second as we got a tie-up as Pintor was disrupted. It'll be a foul against Isaiah Falquist. His first.
Yeah, you notice something there. Ian Van Gordon got back along with Middleton. I have no idea how that would have played out had the Halos been able to get the ball down the court. But finally, they had someone to match her speed. Now, he's out heighted by quite a lot. I know that's not a word, but I don't have a better one. And I think she still would have been able to shoot over him, but he got there to disrupt her flow. Good job by the Racers to react.
Pintor's look on his face off that air ball, but it knocked off the arm of a racer, and therefore the Halos will get a second chance. Shot clock at 23 as that one didn't hit the cylinder. Here is Pintor right to Middleton and got it back. Look of disgust on her face that she makes the second one. She doesn't care. She wanted the first one.
Well, with the position she had, if you're going to miss short because you'll get to try again. And she, like you said, just needed that twice.
Yeah, that was kind of an air of inevitability on that position there from Arel Middleton. 25-12, important possessions for the Racers not to fall too far behind. And knocked away from Williams. Which way are we heading? And we'll stay on this end.
Van Gordon there did a great job slipping into the crack, a rare opportunity on the inside. Just couldn't finish, but I like the way that he adjusted to get in the paint and put up a shot.
2:12 remaining in this opening half. We've got a sub re-entering the game. Ashlyn Olnick will come back, and we have a new entrant for the first time. Chloe Salisbury will enter for the RHI Racers. That was a great play. And again, everything but the finish for Cole Connolly. Schaff has it back, and Schaff strokes it from mid-range.
Yeah, the Racers really needed that one, but on a little bit of a drought, and had broken through in the paint twice. If they had come away with nothing, I think they would have felt a little lackluster or forlorn. But good job there by Schaff lifting up his team.
And a bit of a careless pass there from Chessman. Short-armed it to Middleton. Opportunity to double it up here for the Racers. Schaff drew the defense. Found Connolly. Back to Schaff. Able to pick out a defender. And again, draws the double. Middleton comes over to provide the visual distraction, and that did alter that shot. And off go the Halos. Here is Williams. Stops, but could not get it up on the iron.
Lovely adjustments the Racers have made. They got Connolly into the paint twice that time. Once turned away by Pintor and once by Middleton, but they are getting into the paint. And again, we'll watch that as that is the way you score at this level.
Schaff was trying to turn the corner, and this one for three nearly had it, spun it around off the rim. Offensive rebound, however, for the Racers.
Good hands by Elijah Cox. That thing came in hard off the rim and able to control.
Shot clock short at 3, and it wounds up in the hands of Coach Tarambolo of the Halos.
Hey, he's not playing today, is he?
I think he still could. Moving around pretty actively over there on the Halos sideline. 33 seconds, so the shot clock still a factor. Differential game clock, shot clock, 3 seconds. Stroud is left alone to lurk at the top of the key. The Halos go into a stall. The Racers resembling the pack line defense here. Pintor took a glance at 9, now with 5. Pintor drops it from the elbow. Perfect scenario for the Halos. 27-14. Schaff nearly got it from half court. He would have excited this feature court as he did yesterday when he won the three-point shooting crown. He'll take that back with him to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Half of basketball already in the books as semifinal Saturday is rolling from Richmond, as are the Halos. 13-point lead at the break. We come back to the Henrico Sports and Events Center, but pause for just a few moments and allow you to enjoy action on all of our courts throughout this beautiful facility. 27-14 for the Rancho's Halos after the first half. We come back for the second half of our first game of semifinal Saturday from the National Wheelchair Basketball Association National Championships Junior Weekend here in Richmond, Virginia. We are in the 9th place bracket. The Halos are certainly playing as if they could be on the right side of this bracket. Was just again talking to Coach Tarambolo during the half and said you could have beat it in that Hawks team yesterday. He goes, we could have, but they played better than us. He was very respectful about it. He said, but you got the big boys coming in today. He acknowledged that his team's kind of positioned where he thought it would be coming over to Richmond for these national championships. I also said any adjustments, and he said no, except the fact we're going to have to cheat some minutes for our star player, Aurel Middleton, as she opens the half on the bench, and that is due to having 3 fouls, Todd.
Yeah, it's crazy, John. If you win and then lose, you finish 8th. And if you lose, win, you finish 9th. And that's just the way the tournament goes. That first game, so critical. Maybe a little jet lag on the Halos' part when they played Atlanta. Again, I appreciate the coach not making excuses, but what could have been for the Halos, they're looking great.
Pintor is going to have to carry the load with Middleton on the bench. He knows that. Alessandro is guiding the set for the Halos. Slick maneuvering by Williams just to get out of the way of that pass. Wasn't meant for him. It was meant instead for Chessman. Seth loaded it up. Couldn't hit it.
Yeah, Ash Ketchum, the master of Pokemon and Pikachu, then therefore, now if Pintor having to fill that role, I might have to think of a new nickname.
And Schaff that time set that up wonderfully. The puppeteer finds Van Gordon.
Angel, you're the post.
Good start for the Racers, taking advantage of Middleton being on the bench, and they want to claw their way back into this one. And, you know, we saw it yesterday, John, so don't count these Racers out yet. It still makes some adjustments. You saw the coach working with his players, and look at here.
Yeah, it's a different game without Middleton on the floor. We haven't seen Schaff have that good of a look today, and he is beside himself that he wasn't able to convert that. Would have been a nice start to the half for the Racers. Instead, Chessman. Well, and Schaff again frustrated. He couldn't bring that one in cleanly. And you say, as a coach managing foul trouble, you cheat minutes. You take a minute here. It's not the stretch of, hey, you're locked over here on the bench. And you can see that now Coach Tarambolo brings Middleton back in, and he wants to even this game back out to the flow that he had in the first half.
John, in the break on this one, I'll go over the mathematics of why you should never sit a player on fouls unless it's more of a psychological issue, but I'm sure you'll be interested in my dissertation.
I may be, but our viewers won't. But that'll be a good opportunity, you know, for a restroom break or get yourself something for breakfast, particularly if you're just waking up on the West Coast to watch the Halos. You're loving that as Chessman bottoms it out from 17 feet.
Great look there by Chessman. We haven't seen him with that outside shot, and if that's an added dimension to the Halos, look out.
And draws the double. And unable is Connolly to get it to go from the left block. Pintor gets it wrenched away, and let's say last touched by Pintor as well. And you can see Pintor was displeased with the movement of his teammates.
The Racers here not giving up at all. And the story of the game for the Racers is those left-sided layups. I don't know what they've been working on in practice, but they've certainly missed their opportunities. 2 in the first couple minutes of the first half, 2 in the first couple minutes here in this second half, and what could have been on some of those layups, and those have been really good looks there. Connolly doing a good job. Usually after an easy miss like that, often you make mistakes, but he won that battle there against a very talented Pintor to give the Racers another chance.
Yeah, we keep waiting for the Halos to make an adjustment on that double team, which is getting split, but they haven't been forced to your point, Todd, because the baskets haven't fallen out of it. But you might want to get out in front of that, make that adjustment now, because certainly Schaff and company have figured out that defense is coming.
Always interesting to see the halftime adjustments. That's where the coaching really can come in. If they'll analyze the game, they get 10 minutes with their players. And right now, I've got to give the adjustment to the Racers. They look better out there, even with Middleton in the play.
Chessman comes out on the defense. And now you see an adjustment defensively from the Halos. Pintor is no longer shadowing Schaff, and it shows.
Schaff there, again, we talked about his need to go outside with the big Middleton in blocking up the lane, and Schaff had all day to think about that one, drew up the schematics and the parabolic equations, and down it went.
Parabolas, I haven't thought about in decades. Thank you for that. 29-18, Racers trying to put something together, and we're gonna get a foul underneath. It'll be against Chessman, I believe. Yes, it is. Seth Chessman.
Yeah, Ashlyn Olnick had slipped in. We haven't called her name a lot, but she had slipped in looking for that pass. And again, they're exposing the left side as an opening.
Schaff thought about the three, pulled it down. And now Pintor will create the race for Chessman. He wins that race, and he finishes. That was trust in your teammate there as Pintor just lobbed it down floor, knowing that Chessman had the speed to go and get it.
And just had enough Wheaties this morning to get there. Now that one didn't fall for Schaff, but you could hear assistant coach Robert Liu next to us groaning that Schaff was left so open to take that shot.
31-18 Middleton. Again, setting the floor beautifully. And Stroud, the recipient from Chessman.
Great play there by the Ranchos. Again, winning that transition battle. Easy layup right side.
The Halos have steadied themselves after an early half run for the Racers. Schaff. Middleton just repels that attempt. Ping pongs out of bounds, and the Racers will keep it.
Yeah, I think the Halos have adjusted to the adjustments of the Racers, if you will, and the chess match continues. Appropriate as we have a chessman on the floor.
There's your pun count.
Thank you, John.
That was not a compliment. Schaff spins into the three. Connolly will reset.
Nice, Earl, good recover.
Warriors are in the building. Northern California watching Southern California after their late night triumph last night. And that one beat the shot clock but would not fall. Middleton thinking about it, and Robert Liu saying, no, no, no. You will not throw it down floor to Stroud. He had a crack, but probably a higher level of difficulty than the coaches would like. Pintor instead dumps behind for Chessman. Connolly controls the rebound.
Yeah, both teams looking to find their rhythm here in the second half. It's been a slow-paced game.
Schaff rips by as the defense sold out on the threat of the three.
And that left side remains wide open for the Racers. Let's see if they have enough time to exploit that hole in the defense of the Halos.
Pintor surveying. 10 to shoot. Pintor a glance over to the bench for instruction. 5 to shoot for Chessman.
Chessman forced to those awkward outside shots. He's 0 for 2 on his last 2, and again, the Racers readjusting. It's a game of adjustments here, and the Racers doing some good things. They were down by 13 at the half. We're still down by 13, but are looking good in the second half. I think they have a comeback in them.
It was a 2 from Schaff. Became a moot point. 13 minutes remaining in the game. 13-point lead for the Halos. Middleton to Stroud to the bottom.
Well, that comeback gets a little more difficult now. Great shot by Stroud. He got the pass late from his teammate. And in that awkward position, you saw that go about 7 feet above the rim before it went down.
Yeah, he had to go all the way down to his feet to bring that in. And all the way up off the top side on the skim of the glass. And now, good hands by Pintor. I am mimicking the words of assistant coach Robert Liu there. He is spot on. Another disruptive defensive play for Alessandro Pintor.
Yeah, he's been certainly a big part of this Halos lead Pintor and Middleton, the wrecking crew for the Halos.
Schaff able to reach in, knock that away. Schaff, quick swivel. Olnick. And the shot clock horn goes off.
If you looked at that play, John, you saw no signs of red in the paint. The white setting up that tough perimeter right around and closed up the gap in their porous defense that had been in the second half, and a good job there. Shot clock violation.
35-20 as Middleton again eyes down floor, and Chessman had that one pop off his own wheel. A turnover for the Halos.
Yeah, turnover maybe by numbers there. Had 3 on him. It was a 1-on-3, certainly not a possible of a breakaway. A good full court pressure applied by the Racers. They're still in this one. They're still battling hard, and we appreciate their efforts.
And the crowd applauds the effort of Chessman as he gets it back for the Halos. Well, I want to set what's ahead for you here on our feature channel, on our live stream broadcast, brought to you by Performax, who has a great job title sponsoring wheelchair basketball national championships here in Richmond. And a timeout is a great time to do just that. Following the conclusion of this first game of the day, we'll again see the Dallas Junior Mavericks back in action. They are going to be taking on the WASA Marquette Eagles out of the state of Wisconsin. So Mavericks and Eagles on our show court at 10 a.m. And then we pause because we set the scene for semifinal Saturday, as we will feature both semifinals. First up, the Lakeshore Lakers, the top seed, and they were looking like it yesterday, but they'll have their hands full with the New York Rollin' Fury. We bring you that at 2 o'clock, followed by the second semifinal, the 3-seeded Bennett Blazers, who took out the Synergy Hawks yesterday afternoon. They've got the 2-seed, the Charlotte Junior Hornets. Going to be quite the day here inside the Sports and Events Center, Todd.
Yeah, if you're not excited about this semifinal Saturday, it went chalk 1 through 4, and I know sometimes that's boring. Sometimes we like to root for the underdog, but the talent, John, of these top 4 teams that's going to be on display for America to watch. Incredible talent on both sides. I am looking forward to the matchups. It's too close to call in either of those heats, and those, of course, that win get the chance to play Championship Sunday tomorrow. Exciting wheelchair basketball here coming out of the Henrico Sports and Events Center, brought to you by Performax, and we're just can't be thrilled to be a part of calling these great athletes.
Without question. Appreciate those that joined us yesterday as well. I know the audience grows, as does the intensity in this bracketed format. 13 minutes and now under to play. 15-point lead for the Halos and no time to waste for the Racers. Schaff knows it. Let's fly from well outside the arc.
Yeah, the Halos have tightened up now. That defense looking staunch, and they are poised to take over this game and put it out of reach.
Middleton bounces it to Pintor. Clock is the friend of the Halo at the moment. Pintor takes it down to 10 and then connects.
Yeah,
took some time and then took a toll.
The Racers didn't even challenge Pintor, let him size that one up all day long. Maybe they've lost a little spring in their step, now down by 17.
37-20 is the score. Well short on that baseline effort. Middleton has it, had 3 fouls at the half, still has the 3, so you've effectively eaten up 8 minutes of game clock now without furthering the peril.
I think good players can make those adjustments. They understand what the refs are calling. Middleton's been careful this time.
Chessman had that lined up, didn't get it. Connolly has the board. 37-20. Navigating traffic is Schaff. Stroud, excellent defense there, and Schaff had nowhere to go. Pintor out in front. Middleton rolls with him. But it's all Alessandro Pintor.
Pintor made that play and made it look easy, but give credit to Schaff for not giving up on the play. He got back quickly to make the shot a little more difficult for Pintor, and that's what great athletes do. They play all the way through, down by 17 or up by 17. He's giving it his maximum effort.
Middleton got her wheels tangled there, but able to get herself back positioned.
Wincing in pain, though. Can't tell if that was her hand or what got hurt, but she's wincing there.
Yeah, definitely more of a violent collision there. She had some good speed going. We're going to get a sub. I think they're going to allow Middleton to come out for a moment. Angel Guzman will check into the game, and a timeout taken for medical purposes here for the Halos. I think in the grand scheme, RHI Middleton is okay, but certainly shaken up a bit by that transition collision.
Yeah, if you've never seen this live, the camera doesn't do it justice. These athletes are screaming at high speeds, and that's metal on metal, and sometimes it's flesh on metal. And we know if that collides, who wins there. Middleton taking the brunt of the collision there, and she'll shake the cobwebs off and hope we see her out again soon.
Love the demeanor of assistant coach Robert Liu. He's over here making Middleton laugh as she shakes off that pain. She's kind of laughing, wincing, then laughing again. But you just love the energy around this team. It's, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, Robert Liu's time too.
Yeah, that's a good point. And maybe her ribs are hurt, and so he's actually causing more problem by making her laugh, right?
Yeah, good point. But it's the intent that matters.
Exactly.
Well, the winner of this game, and barring a dramatic turnaround here, and climbing out of a 19-hole for the Racers as they trail 39-30. And potentially, if chalk would hold, would get a matchup between the Halos and the Kansas City Kings, who were upset yesterday, the 7 seed, by the Utah Rush. That would be a fun game to watch. It would happen 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, I would love to see that matchup. Middleton there can do some great work against the relatively inexperienced Kings, and I think that would be a great matchup for our viewers.
But in order for that to happen, the Kings will have to get past the Junior Warriors, and as the Mavericks found out, that's no small task late last night.
True, that's true. Yeah, the Warriors just so gritty and resilient, down by his double digits and more, and just came back and found a way to keep coming back, and had that 3 dropped in their face to put it to overtime in the waning seconds. I mean, what was it, 1.2 seconds or something on the clock? Dropped the 3, and you thought the Warriors might lose all hope. They were the underdog, and they held on. And what a great treat we had last night.
Yeah, and we're going to see Owen Horsley and the Dallas Mavericks once again. They're in our next matchup after that very difficult loss. It kind of became a battle of attrition for the Mavericks. Lost their top 2 players, including Zerzan, who hit that 3. But Nate Anish and the Warriors were just too much in the second half and then into the 2 overtimes. So Warriors Kings, that's coming up, by the way, in the 10 a.m. window. For those that are on site here and want to make their way over to court 9, that's right behind us.
Pace of the play really slowed up here in the second half. Scoring is well down, and I think the Halos are just fine with that. They've slowed things up.
Well, I was about to say, that's not an accident. The Halos have done that. 10 minutes to go, and the lead has grown despite them taking their foot off the gas a little bit.
Their defense has just been outstanding, limiting the Racers to 6 points here in the second half. And Racers are finding themselves in a hole that's going to be hard to climb out of.
Going to get this across the timeline, and just does beat the 10 count. Oh, what a look. Pintor had it on the chair of Williams. Williams, though, looking back at his buddy saying, how do you think I'm supposed to catch that? Down on the base of the wheel.
Take the shorter pass.
I've been impressed with Brendan Williams. Again, you don't call his name nearly as much as you do Pintor, who kind of controls and dictates the action, but Williams is kind of that glue guy, you can tell, for this Halos team.
And that takes nothing away from the fact that Williams was the only Halo to come over and thank us for our services, right, John?
Oh, he's definitely our favorite, but it doesn't take away from
We're bought easily.
Oh, no doubt. Now wait till you see the tray of muffins they've got back in the hospitality room. You didn't make your way at halftime. I did. This is bought easy, yes. Whoever delivered those muffins, I'll be seeing you for breakfast next weekend.
There you go.
I think those are friends at Nothing Bunt Cakes, potentially. And we have a spill for Chessman. A stoppage because he was right in the flow of the play there. So officials do such a great job of keeping these players out of harm's way when that happens, and also, respectfully getting them repositioned in the chairs. It takes, a special person to be an official of anything, quite frankly, athletically these days. But even more so, I would say, for this awesome event.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. If you've had a chance to talk to any of the officials in this organization, these are people that are just the best of the best, salt of the earth people. They just care so much about this game. They travel long distances. Wheelchair basketball is not something you can do from one city. And so they are constantly traveling on weekends, giving up their own personal time. Can't say enough about the officiating crews. It's just such a family, that whole community we talked about yesterday. Perfect example of that.
Chloe Salisbury just had a rare look there. Chessman has to throw it in behind his back. Able to save the play momentarily for Pintor. Guzman back to Pintor, and bank is open on a Saturday ahead of hours.
Well, it's the early morning hours. The banks are usually open till noon, right?
I think so.
We'll see how
I haven't been to a bank branch in many years.
Well, that's true.
Mobile banking, great. Generally these days, if you're at a bank branch, something has gone wrong.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good job by there with the Racers not giving up. They're still here to play. Good tip there to disrupt the play.
And Chessman a little too eager in pursuit of the ball, which was possessed by Schaff.
I think it's some youth there. You can see Chessman, one of the younger players for these Halos. Just that's some experience he'll gain in knowing when to apply that pressure and when the officials are going to step in and say a little too much. He'll learn that as time comes on. Young team here, the Halos, and bright future for this California. SoCal, I think you called it, John?
Yeah, it's SoCal and NorCal. And I lived on the western side of the country for a while, and the reason for that is, of course, you don't want to be known as NoCal because
NorCal, got it.
That wouldn't be cool.
Well, I know people.
SoCal, NorCal.
People dieting really want to be associated with NoCal. But maybe not a California.
I don't even know how to back us out of that. But it's fun, when you're out that way, there is a rivalry between Southern and Northern California, no doubt about it. It's much like North and South Carolina, North and South Dakota, or any border states for that matter. And that's kind of how California sees itself. But it's fun watching all the way across the country. It's more west versus east. You see the Warriors cheering for the Halos, and vice versa.
Oh, we got the Minnesota-Iowa rivalry.
Absolutely, the border battle.
There you go.
Hasn't been good since 1960, but that's beside the point. 41-20.
I can't say anything. I did that on the Clippers, too.
Coach Turnbull.
It's my coach's fault for telling me while we were on offense, too. Guys are out!
And a block from Arel Middleton. Tarambolo, Lou, and the coaches from
11 seconds.
The Halos giving some grief over to the scores table. Giving it right back.
A lot of jostling here this morning. I think Robert Lou's had his caffeine now. He's fully awake. He expects the same out of his athletes. This game has definitely slowed down, and I think, like you said, that's by design on the Halos. It's been lackluster. I think the air is out of the tires for the Racers. They've brought in from the bench Kimmy Perry, and I think they're sort of waving the white flag at this point, John, getting some experience for their bench.
Yeah, they've got Perry out there. She's number 1 in red. Chloe Salisbury was already out there as well. She's number 21 for the Racers. Isaiah Falquist completes the 5 on the floor along with Connolly and Schaff. So not bringing out their 2 best players. That would completely clog it up, but getting some minutes. As Williams tapped that back to the top. Shot clock didn't reset as no change of possession. So down to 2. Salisbury had a look at it. And we'll play through as the shot clock did expire.
Well, they didn't get points there, but good possession by the Racers. Controlled the ball, had a couple opportunities. Perry had slipped in the lane left side, just couldn't quite get the pass, and then ultimately no bucket, but a good possession.
Pintor milking some clock, lets it go with 8 on the shot clock. Much to the chagrin of Robert Liu, he just shouted, "Guys, this isn't a 3-point shooting contest." Well, you can forgive their confusion. It was the 3-point shooting contest on this court yesterday.
And I'm surprised we haven't seen Schaff take more of those. He, of course, the 3-point champion, and we haven't seen one from him today.
Yeah, and a lot of that goes to the Halos. They've been shadowing him out on that line, pushing him off of that 3-point line. Under 6 minutes to play now. Middleton having a big morning.
You know, it's funny when you're up by so many, you never miss those easy shots. It just seems Middleton, you knew she was going to make that. She took a deep breath. It was like a Sunday stroll to her.
And Lucy Ashley Castillo is set to check in for the first time as this lead has become insurmountable for the Halos at 43-20. So Coach Tarambolo, like Coach Hall, is going to get everybody that's in uniform today into the game. Guzman will come to the bench as, again, Ashley Castillo comes in. Lucy Ashley Castillo. Pat on the head from her coach as she entered.
And the Racers, again, just playing a little more slowly here, not able to really find the seams.
Nice pass by Olnick. Not taken away by Pintor. Middleton steadies and scores yet again. And she's got size, but she's got chair skills galore too.
And speed, that's why I've got her in there as a possible MVP candidate. I know each of the coaches in the games get a ballot. They get to write who they think were dynamic players. I'd be surprised if the Racers coach isn't writing RL Middleton on that ballot. She's looked really good, the best we've seen thus far.
She has. The only other, I think, name you could write would be Alessandro Pintor. He's been fantastic this morning also. But I think I'm with you. I think I'd have to give the slight edge to Middleton. You know, that's always you slight somebody when you're naming an MVP.
Well, there's 2 categories in Nationals. There's a male and a female
Perfect.
MVP.
All right, you're going to write both those in there
yep,
then.
Both, yep.
Here comes Pintor. And there we go. Willie Young gets himself a bucket. You love to see that. Deeper off the Halos bench.
Coach Robert Liu gave a big fist pump on that one as he got his youthful player there, a right-sided layup. Just exciting to see the bench players come in and make an impact.
4 minutes remaining now in the game.
Boy, the story of this second half has been that defense. The Halos allowing a scant 6 points, and they just really tightened down the clamps, and the Racers have just been unable to find a solution.
Yeah, in the first half it was the pace. The Halos really getting up and down the floor exceptionally well. The second half has been that lockdown defense. Now they're into a stall, and the Halos are going to move on to take on either the Kansas City Kings or the Junior Road Warriors. Well, that would be interesting if the Warriors were able to spring that upset on the Kansas City Kings. Then we'd have SoCal versus NorCal, and we'd bring that West Coast rivalry over here to Richmond, Virginia tomorrow morning. But the Kings, I would think, if you were prognosticating, would be expected to be the favorite in that game.
I think I agree with you there. Kings are a very strong team. Probably the real challenge, can the Kings get out of that psychological impact of being left side? John, they haven't been left side in the brackets in years. And obviously very disappointing to lose that first game. Can they recompose themselves and win the games they need to win and take 9th place? Because that's all that's in front of them, and they need to do that.
Well, they did a good job of that last night at 8 o'clock when they defeated the WASA Marquette Eagles, whom I mentioned because we're about to see them in action on our feature court. Kings put up 70 points in a 70-37 win in that game. That's what got them that matchup with the Warriors. And speaking of the Eagles, they'll be taking on the Dallas Junior Mavericks. We'll have that on our featured court at 10 o'clock. And that falls for Connolly, and he beat, excuse me, for Van Gordon, and he beat the shot clock in so doing. Loose ball. Racers able to pick it up, but Pintor able to get it back.
Yeah, 25-point lead. Pintor still playing with the full intensity of this thing as though this were still in question. And he has no off switch.
No, he does not. And you wouldn't imagine, you know, you come all the way across, and this is the big stage for wheelchair basketball. This is the Nationals. This is Richmond with 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, not the way the Racers wanted to start their day. They'll have to regroup. And they're still alive. One more game for the Racers tomorrow.
And Middleton is told to pull it out despite the fact that she had a clear path to the basket. And you can hear the Halos coaches saying, all right, we're done scoring for the day. Just pull it up. Lucy Ashley Castillo lost the handle. Nice look into the lane, and a strong finish from Falquist.
That was a great, like you said, a great swish there, just poised. Where was that all game? I'm sure his coach has been wondering, but good job there to get open right side and then make the shot.
47-24 is the score. Halos have it in hand here, and again, they'll just pull it up top and bleed as much clock as they can.
Pintor again just snatching the ball with his right hand, just using that left to steady himself. Really graceful in the way he can just palm that ball the way he does.
It's a shot clock violation, but regardless, everyone was eager to see if that shot from Ashley Castillo would fall, including her. She had it online, caught the heel. Under a minute to play now, as the Halos will continue their pursuit of 9th place. A 16-team bracket.
It's going to be a great matchup there. I do think the Kings will prevail, and I think we'll see a great Halos-Kings matchup for 9th place. That one will be a fun one. Circle that one on your live stream, folks. That'll be a great game to watch in the consolation bracket.
And that will do it. Impressive performance, 5 a.m. their time or not. The Halos get out of bed and they get a victory by the final of 47-24. Again, they really set the pace in the first half up and down the floor. Once they had the lead, they sat on it and really stifled this Racer squad offensively. Todd and I just getting started on our feature court. Much more to come coming up in the pursuit of 13th place out of the consolation bracket on our feature court. We've got the Dallas Junior Mavericks and the Golden Eagles, the WASA Marquette Eagles, as we get the daps from the victorious Halos here at the broadcast table. And we certainly appreciate that, along with all the smiles as well. Congratulations to the Halos. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll be back on our feature court. We've got more action coming up here in Richmond.